Walking along the Chester Creek Trail here in Anchorage, enjoying the forest, which looks like a regular forest to me. Hidden within these trees, branches, and plants, though, are invasive species that have been here, some for decades, that are harming the local native plants, local wildlife, and can disrupt the food supply for local fish.
This is kind of one of the worst spots in all of Anchorage.
Tim Stallard is a biologist who identifies and mitigates plant species that are growing in Alaska but aren't indigenous to the state.
Everything we see here growing is a European bird cherry tree, one of these invasive Mayday trees.
Invasive species are any plant, animal, or insect that aren't naturally from an area.
People planted these originally as an ornamental. They're very cold hardy. They grow well here in Anchorage.
Stallard says these Mayday trees have completely taken over every other type of plant in this stretch of Anchorage's Chester Creek Trail.
In this little area, there's no food for moose. Our native trees contribute a lot of insects to our streams that the baby salmon eat. So these trees contribute a few insects, but support a lot fewer different species in a smaller number. So if more areas are allowed to become a monoculture like this, there's a concern for salmon food availability.
The European bird cherry, or Mayday tree. It's an example of a greater, more serious problem in Alaska.
I would say it's very serious. Alaskans, we're so tied into our natural environment. We rely on our natural resources, for our jobs, for employment, for fun, for culture, for food.
The Alaska Department of Fish and Game says there are about 50,000 invasive species that have been introduced to Alaska, and it's up to the public to help stop the spread.
Yeah, we're kind of, facing the most invasive species we've ever faced in Alaska, just as with increased travel for both locals and visitors. So there's kind of more threats and more invasive species present than we've ever seen before.
There are people who have been working across the state, across local, state, and government agencies, as well as people who are contracted, like Tim, who are working every day to identify new invasive species and help mitigate the ones that are here. On the Chester Creek Trail in Anchorage, Joe Cadat, Alaska's News.